And now, with more on Israel's recent diplomacy from the U.S. to Turkey, Research Fellow with the Jerusalem Institute for Strategy and Security, Dr. Emmanuel Navon. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. It's the first time in a decade that an Israeli defense minister is meeting with Turkish officials. How do you explain us getting closer to Erdogan?
So I think this visit does confirm that the Turkish president is actually serious about upgrading ties with Israel. And this includes, obviously, defense, because if the defense minister of Israel is paying an official visit to Turkey, that means that the upgrading of relations also applies to defense. And that is very significant because in recent years, Turkey's foreign policy has been basically hostile to Israel, aligning with Hamas and also sometimes with Iran. And Erdogan made that move a few months ago, half a year ago, mostly for economic reasons and under the pressure of the Biden administration. And there was an open question at the time on whether or not he was sincere, whether or not he was serious. And I think that the visit of the Israeli defense minister to Turkey seems to confirm that Erdogan seems to be serious about making this change, including when it comes to security.
Mm-hmm. So we know that Turkey is an asylum state for Hamas leaders. Do you think Erdogan will change his approach towards Hamas terrorists?
Look, Erdogan is an Islamist. He's not going to change. But the question is, under pressure and faced with tough choices, is he going to change his policy? He's not going to change his worldview and his ideology, but he can change his policy, which he did. Now, I assume that part of the deal between Israel and Turkey is that Turkey, even though, as you said, does provide asylum for Hamas terrorists, will it downgrade somehow its cooperation with this organization or not? I would guess and assume that part of the negotiations between Israel, the US, and Erdogan include a change of tone and of policy regarding Turkey's relations with Hamas.
Yes, let's talk about the agreement with Lebanon. It's clear to all Lapid wanted to get a signing picture before the elections. The question is this agreement good or bad for Israel?
Well, the fact is that there is a wall-to-wall consensus among security experts in the army, in all the security services, and in the government itself, by the way, regarding this agreement, that it was the right thing to do. So it's very rare to see such a wall-to-wall agreement among security sources and experts. Of course, because we are during an election period, you hear, and that's normal, criticism from the opposition. But as I said, at the end of the day, within the government and the security establishment, there is a very wide consensus on this agreement, on the fact that it was the right thing. Now, of course, you can always say, it might not be the right timing. We're in an election period. But again, I think that when you listen to security experts into the security establishment, there was a very, very clear position that this agreement was the right thing to do for Israel at this point.
Yes, but we also know that Nasrallah was threatening Israel a few days before Lapid decided to go ahead with the deal, basically.
Let us not forget that Israel is the greatest power of the Middle East, that Lebanon is a failed state, that Nasrallah does not make any decision by himself. All his decisions have to be approved by Tehran, and that even though Hezbollah does indeed hold a huge amount of missiles directed at Israel, at the end of the day, its standing within Lebanon has been weakened in recent months because it is perceived, and rightly so, as being one of the reasons for Lebanon's descent into economic collapse. And therefore, I wouldn't take those threats too seriously. It's not the first time that he threatens Israel. but let me remind you that since the war of 2006 between Israel and Hezbollah, Hezbollah has never dared to attack Israel again, and I'm sure it knows why.
Do you think the Likud could cancel the agreement after the elections?
So the chairman of Likud, Benjamin Netanyahu, made that threat at this point. He no longer makes it because he realizes that it would be illegal, and B, it would very much undermine Israel's international standing and reputation. So he himself does not make that threat anymore.
Dr. Emmanuel Navon, thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, it's Emmanuel Kadosh. I wanted to invite you all to subscribe to ILTV+, where you can find our daily news and updates about Israel. And not only that, but live feeds, entertainment, our kosher food show, and so much more. Needless to say, your subscription to ILTV+ helps us grow and create more content while also supporting the state of Israel. Our app is available on all platforms and devices, so I'll see you guys there.